was a spirit before his birth. Such spirits are limited in their progress, and thus long to come to earth to obtain a mortal body, and eventually inherit one of the 3 degrees of glory. In the highest degree one can receive the fullness of glory and exaltation, thus enabling him to be a creator of earths. A spirit cannot beget mortal children, for only like begets like. As spirits, they cannot be gods over such an earth, for they have no children to put on it. They cannot organize or create an earth, or else all mankind would have been able to have that chance in the pre-existence, and would not be required to come down into mortality. Only those who reach the celestial kingdom and the fullness of glory receive the authority and powers of a god, who can create a world such as ours. Creating Plants and Animals, Chapter 16 of Mysteries of Creation. The fullness of.
Okay, so this is the conclusion of this chapter. Next one will be chapter 16, the creation of plants and animals, or the organization of plants and animals. And we'll learn about that, but real quick, spirits cannot create spirits. Exalted beings cannot create spirits other than to organize them. So there is no such thing as celestial sex that produces spirit children. I don't know where Brigham Young got that idea. It's not true. He was wrong about that. And that's fine. You know, we have to work out these things on our own to understand these things. That's why we don't just trust in the flesh, because sometimes people teach things, even in a position of authority, that they don't completely understand by revelation. Okay, and I've taught it before, and I'll teach it again just in case we have any new listeners. Many years ago, the Father showed me when I asked about the Big Bang Theory and where he was before the Big Bang. Was he just in the void of nothingness? And like I mentally wrestled and to the point where my brain hurt, not literally, but kind of. But I was just really trying to understand this, and I was asking Heavenly Father for quite some time, where were you before the Big Bang? Like, what, how that work, you know? And the Father eventually, after asking over and over and over again through for a process of many years, he eventually took me up in the spirit, and he brought me into space, and we stood a long way off from this huge cloud of light in space, in the darkness of space. And we came down into that cloud, and what I thought was just like a cloud of light, it turned out that when we came down into the cloud of light and we got closer, there were orbs, many orbs of light. And he told me to look at a specific one, and he said, look. And I looked at that one, and I saw a flash of light, and I saw that 2 orbs of light, or 1 orb of light became 2 orbs of light. He explained to me as he stood next to me, when the intelligence, which is the orbs of light we were looking at, he explained to me that first of all, the intelligence is eternal. The elements of the universe are eternal, and the laws of the universe are eternal. They were not created, made from nothing, but they are organized. And what I was told is that when... Oh, great. Well, that was fun. It's a couple minutes later, and I'm down by Diamond Fork, canyon or campgrounds just off of US 6, and it is a messy nightmare out here. We're only doing 5 miles an hour. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying. So I saw one of the orbs of light, which the Father told me directly was intelligence. And when the intelligence becomes self-aware, the feminine and the masculine energies of the intelligence separate. It's not a 50-50 split. So some will have more, they'll be mostly feminine, but have some masculine, and then there's the masculine or the feminine, well, whatever. So anyway, some are more, some are less, but this is how these spirits are created. These two spirits that come from the same intelligence, this is a soulmate. They become male and female. But the reason why not everybody has soulmates is because um, these different spirits might be progressing at different levels, or the masculine, it's usually the masculine, will rebel and then they become a demon. And this happens over eons of time. Like the growth of these intelligence, the first time they're put onto an earth is not the last time they're put onto an earth, and they are put in different situations in different races, and um, they can progress. There are some that progress way faster than others. Some progress way slower than others. But as long as they're progressing, they're fine to keep coming back and gain a new level of resurrection after they put off their resurrection from the first earth, or whatever earth it is that they've been on, when they are placed on a new earth. The only ones that do not get to come back to an earth are the ones who are destroyed. And the reason they're destroyed is because they are rebellious, completely rebellious. And oh, there goes Highway Patrol. Anyway, they become completely rebellious. They may follow a Lucifer on any number of Earths, who becomes a Satan or a Hasatan. They're done. And there is some stuff it's either in the Zohar or the Kabbalah which talks about this. The Zohar and the Kabbalah are Jewish mysticism texts. So what happens is, according to the Jews in the Jewish mysticism texts, what happens is these individuals will be given 3 opportunities to come back onto an earth. But if they do not continue in progression because they are wicked, they're destroyed. So there's that. I don't think that's talking about sons of perdition, because they have exalted, or they have gone up to the higher levels, even to the point where God the Witness for this earth, not me, the one who was chosen before me, he was called the Hillel ben Shakar, or the son of the morning. There are only 2 sons of the morning for each earth. The son of the morning is always an Adam, and the sons of the morning are the bright and morning star and the evening star, or Messiah ben Judah, Messiah ben Joseph, or the God the Redeemer and God the Witness. Okay, God the Witness, who was chosen to be the witness of this earth, rebelled and fell, even though he was at the beginning stages of godhood. And he became perdition because of his arrogance and his pride. He'd done everything right all the way up until this point, or everything right that could be forgiven if he did screw up a little bit here or there. But because of his arrogance and his pride, he became perdition. His body was stripped from him, and his title, the title of becoming a Hillel ben Shakar, or a son of light, or in Latin, a Lucifer, he had that, or God the Witness, which is the true title of the Holy Ghost. He was stripped of all of that. He lost his resurrection. He was cast down to the earth. And he is the Hasatan of this world, and he will be destroyed in a lake of fire. there's some things about that that there's more to it. There's always more to it. I'm not going to get into that on this particular video, but um, if everything plays out, he will be destroyed in a lake of fire. And the reason for that, why does God have to do this to some individuals? Because most people are not destroyed in the lake of fire. The majority of people are not destroyed in the lake of fire. But the reason why this has to happen is because there are many more who are wicked and evil, who have been given chance after chance to progress, and they don't want to. They want to rebel. They want to be like Cain. Cain was told what to do and how to do it, and he was like, I'm going to do it my way and whatever. And then he killed Abel, right? And what Lucifer's great crime is that he actually stopped people from progressing spiritually. The sin next to murder isn't sexual sin, and it never was. That's a tradition of the LDS Church. The sin next to murder is that you, as an individual who has certain authority, people look up to you, and you do certain things which causes people not to accept the plan of salvation. And why is it the sin next to murder? It's because you're not murdering them physically, you're murdering them spiritually. And because if God allows these individuals to continue in their rebellion, they will bring up each earth is going to have a testing phase and a war. But that's for each earth. And there are enough good that that they cannot rebel against the whole system. If God didn't destroy them, though, they would gain in numbers far greater than the exalted ones, and they would seek to overthrow the kingdom of the eternal, which includes all of the Elohim, all of the exalted ones, and all of us. So God has to destroy them. He doesn't want to. He has to protect the kingdom and protect all of us. Because can you imagine that these rebellious individuals get into power in the kingdom of the eternal, and all of the worlds are under the control of these rebellious gods, or these rebellious armies or legions? God's not going to allow that. I don't know if it ever got to the point where it was close. And there may have been things in the past where it was really bad. It got really bad. And God, this is speculation. I haven't been taught this, but speculation. So, take it for what you will. Or on the sands of speculation with this. But I believe that things have been worked out in such a way over the different eons of time that this plan that we are currently in now is the plan for a reason. Because I don't know, but I believe that there was some trial and error in the beginning, and the beginning could have been billions of years itself. I don't know, but that's what I believe. But I believe, based on my thoughts and my logic, I haven't been given rock solid revelation on this subject. So, but I have been given rock solid revelation on the subject of multiple mortal probations, or the doctrine of eternal lives, plural, from world to world. I do know that that's true, and I testify to you that I do know that that's true because I have been taught by the Father these things, and I studied it out to the best of my ability, and eventually God revealed it to me. And I studied it out not knowing what I was like. I knew kind of, but when God revealed it to me, I had never considered that was the case. This doctrine of eternal lives was from world to world. I had some ideas, and I kept on asking the Father, and He eventually did teach me um, what the truth was about that. But all I was asking at that particular point was, where were you before the Big Bang? Like, were you just in the vast nothingness and you spoke it all into creation? And I was taught very clearly, no, this is all eternal. These things are eternal. The elements are eternal. The laws of the universe are eternal. The intelligence is eternal. The spirit has a beginning, though. And the beginning is when they become self-aware, and there is that separation, and the birth of the spirit comes from the intelligence, which is eternal. And the spirit, the masculine without the feminine can be destroyed, and the feminine without the masculine can can be destroyed. And in fact, there is an aging process of the spirit. You don't have eternity to progress. There is a point when you will not progress anymore. And it's not because you're not being, or it's not because you're destroyed, it's because that sealing bond of the Holy Spirit promise with the masculine and the feminine is what you need in order to get past a certain point. You have to have that sealing power seal you to your, if you're a man, to your woman, your wife, or if you're a woman, to your man. You can't get there being sealed male to male or female to female, although there are instances where that is the case, but it's not the same way which the world would see it. Like, the law of adoption is a man being sealed to a man. So when the Father placed his physical hands upon my physical head and sealed me up unto himself and up unto eternal life, I'm sealed to the Father. And everybody in the heavens, Jesus Christ included, anybody, everybody in the heavens that are sealed to each other, we're all sealed together. But on the earth, I am the man who is sealed to the Father, which creates a link between the heavens and the earth, turning the hearts on the earth of the fathers and the children who are on the earth towards the fathers and the mothers, the brothers and sisters in the heavens. Joseph Smith was that man in his day and age in the 1800s. They did away with the law of adoption because they did not fully understand it when Wilford Woodruff was the president of the church back in the 1890s. When they did away with plural celestial marriage, the kingdom of God, which is the Council of 50. They did away with united orders, which they never received revelation to do away with any of that. They did away with rebaptisms, which used to be a thing. You could be rebaptized anytime you wanted. You could be rebaptized when you're being sealed or your to a spouse or your children, or you could be rebaptized because you were sick. You could be rebaptized for a number of different reasons. But they did away with that. And now, like somebody like my brother, who was baptized by a very wicked and evil man, who did not have any priesthood authority, and because of that, my brother wanted to be rebaptized at a certain point, but the church wouldn't let him because Byron Sessions was okay in the eyes of the church, even though he either was excommunicated or he should have been excommunicated. And my brother knew, and he was an abusive man, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that was going on, and my brother should have been able to get rebaptized into the corporation of the First Presidency, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, whatever. But they wouldn't let him, so, and he's like, well, I'm not baptized then because what this man did. And they make all kinds of excuses up, but if they still had the the law of rebaptism, which was done away with. It's part of the first fruits of the restoration, which you need to get back to. But they've done away with all of these things, you know, and that's part, like, getting back to those things and more, because there was more that was supposed to come, you know, in DNC section 124. If the Nauvoo temple was finished, there would have been there would have been a ton more revelations. Jesus even says this will be the beginning of revelations, meaning everything that we had up until that point is just a prelude to get us prepared for that point. And then a ton more come out, including the restoration of the times and seasons, or the holy days of Jehovah. That didn't happen. Those revelations that Jesus was talking about didn't happen. Jesus Christ said that the Father would come and restore the fullness of the priesthood himself. That didn't happen. So the fullness of the priesthood was never restored to the church anyway. Like just a bunch of stuff. And in fact, all they who hinder this work are cursed to the third and fourth generation. Basically, you're put on a pause. But also, Jesus did say, all they who hinder this work, cursed to the third and fourth generation. And he also says in Doctrine and Covenants, section 124, if you do not do these things, you will be rejected as a church with your dead. And so when people are like, oh, that never happened, so you calling Jesus a liar then? Or are you just trying to do the mental backflips because you know the church is true? The church has a lot of truth in it, but they have a lot of false traditions, and they have gone away from the meat of the gospel, which Isaiah chapter 28 talks about the drunkards of Ephraim in the last days, who is the church and the organization of the churches. Anyway, like, they in the last days are called the drunkards of Ephraim, whose all of their tables are full of filth and vomit, and even their priests and their prophets are out of the way. And why are they out of the way? Because they don't get revelation, and the things which they had received in the past they don't accept, and they look at the meat of the gospel as though they can put it on a table, and then they look at it with like it's vomit and putrid filth to them. And they have all kinds of lies that they tell you, and all kinds of mental gymnastics that they tell you to discard the things which were once restored. And you become, as a church, more like the ways of the world in your Babylonian businesses, and even trying to become more like the Protestants, or the evangelists, or the evangelicals, or whatever, and your progression is stopped as a church. Russell M. Nelson said there's more coming, and he was right, but they don't have the authority to give you more because they have been rejected as a church with their dead. And there has to be a hard reset of authority in order, and there was. It's talked about in Daniel chapter 12. In the last days, the man clothed in linen, which is a symbol of purity and righteousness. He's not wearing mixed fabrics. Okay, he is a man clothed in linen, which is a symbolic visualization of a man in purity. And he raises his arms to the air after the manner of the Melchizedek priesthood, or to the square, and he scatters the power of all the holy people. What's the power? It's the priesthood. Who are the holy people in the last days? It's the saints of the restoration. What he's really doing is severing the priesthood and all of the ordinances of all the holy people. And why do I know that? Because I am the Lord's anointed under his own hand. This is the work of the Father. In 2013, on July 15th of that year, he told me to use the authority that he had given me to sever the priesthood and the ordinances of all the holy people. And I said, why? Like, it was a shock to me at the time. I was like, why do you want me to do this? I don't understand. He said, if they will not accept you as my witness, I will not accept them. And then he explained to me that this whole thing was all part of a hard reset to set the house of God in order. Not just the church, the house of God in order. So I'm sorry that I have to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm the messenger. And I'm telling you what the Father told me. I'm telling you all of these things because I'm not being vague about it. Like some people who claim to be the Davidic servant, like Denver Snuffer, is very vague about it. Oh, my new name is David, and therefore, what's he doing about it? And also, Denver Snuffer did not have a physical one-on-one relationship experience in the flesh with the Father or the Son. He claims that he received, a visitation of the Son, but I don't know. And it's really interesting because our timelines seem to match up pretty interestingly, pretty close, and the places where we lived and the experiences at the times that we had the experiences. And like I said, I don't know what to think all about Denver Snuffer. But I do know that Joseph Smith taught a correct principle that when God raises up a prophet, Satan will raise up a prophet as well who will be so very near to the true prophet that even the elect of God will be deceived by that prophet. So, and then just one other thing before I finish this conclusion. The true Davidic servant is not going to redeem Zion with the filthy lucre of Babylon the Great. God doesn't need filthy lucre. He doesn't need your money. Okay? I don't need your money. I do kind of. I never ask for it, but I've got to get a lawyer and for some things, and but I'm not building. I'm not building anything other than I'm not building physical buildings at this time. But I'm teaching, and this is all free. Okay. And I will baptize anybody who comes to a place where I can baptize them. Not at my home, because I've had way too many people who I stay in a hidden place, and there's a reason for that. I'm not going to get into that in this video. But Zion will be redeemed with a true remnant, and it will be redeemed in poverty. Meaning, even if people gathered to Emery County and we did build meeting houses and we did start doing United Orders and all of that stuff, that's all great and it's all practice, but when we have to leave Emery County, and that will happen because it gets too dangerous to remain there. That's what the Father told me. When it gets too dangerous to remain there, this is where I want you to. Sorry, I got interrupted. But when we get to the point where it's too dangerous to remain in the gathering place where the Father told me to go, in 2016, we moved because he instructed us to move to Emery County. He said this would be the gathering place for the remnant. That when it gets too dangerous to remain there, that you need to go here. And he showed me a place in the desert. A hidden place, a place that he has prepared. It's been there for thousands of years. It's for us. And we'll go there in the highways at the top of the mountains, and we will go down into the desert places. Isaiah saw it. He talked about it. It's not going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's not going to be in Missouri. It's not going to be in any city. There is a place that we are going to go that he has prepared while it's too dangerous to remain outside of that area. As Babylon the Great burns around us, he will preserve us in the wilderness, which is what Isaiah saw. And I know exactly where it is. And on our way there, we're going to meet a lot of people who are refugees from the cities who are fleeing the cities because of the great destruction and the great turmoil, the rioting, the murdering, the wars that are going to happen, even all up and down the Wasatch Front, even in Moroni and Mount Pleasant and Fairview and Price and even in Emery County, which is very rural, it'll be too dangerous to remain there. And God is going to take us and lead us in the highways of the top of the mountains, and we will pick up a lot of people at that point, and we will go together down into the hiding places that God has for us to gather. So, and it's, I don't know. I'm 48 now. I might be 80 when it gets to this point. I don't know timelines. God has given me a whole bunch of information, and I am carrying it out. He's given me my marching orders, and I'm doing what he has asked me to do at this point. And he said, when this time comes, you will know it has come. So, that's the way it goes. So, anyway, I'm going to post this, and hopefully I can get back to Carbon County tonight, because I got to get this truck service tomorrow, but I still have 96 miles to go. And man, it took me quite a while to get to Spanish Fork, which is where I'm at now. So I'm almost I-15, but it's a snowy bugger out there today. Lots of people sliding off the road. Just be careful. I watched a guy behind me with his four-wheel drive. These idiots with four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, listen. You might have more ability to go forward, but you have the same amount of wills to lock up on ice and lose control that everybody else has. And this guy was kind of tailgating me, and we were not going that fast, but he started going sideways. He was able to get control of it, but just be safe out there, especially if you're in a wintry climate. I know that in North America there's a lot of storms going through right now, but anywhere in the world that where you see these podcasts, these YouTube videos at Zion's Redemption Radio Network, or the Rumble videos at Zion's Redemption Radio Network, or the TikToks, which is where I always post first, at TikTok, and look for me, Red Pill Mormon, if you want to follow me there. Like, this is a worldwide ministry. We have people from all over the world that watch these things. So, and yeah, if you're watching it, you may just happen on this by happenstance, but you may have been inspired to watch these things. Of course, like I've said before, many called, few are chosen. And the reason they're not chosen is because maybe they have a disbelief or an unbelieving heart. Maybe they're damned in their traditions. They believe the lies of false doctrine and will not be corrected. There's a whole bunch of different reasons. But out of all of the people who see me, there will be a residue of the people who will actually accept me, and they will be part of Zion's redemption. They'll be part of the remnant. So, and this is my own personal thoughts on the gathering to Emery County. I kind of believe that the majority of the people who will actually gather are the noble and great ones who are foreordained to be part of the remnant. I believe that there'll be a lot of other people there too. And in fact, there have been people going to Emery County because God has told them to go there independent of me. I've met them. They've never seen me. They've never seen these podcasts. They don't know who I am. I meet them in Emery County and they tell me God told me I need to come here and I don't know why. So there's that. So anyway, well, I'll get these ones uploaded and thank you for watching, everyone, and just be prayerful. You know, this is between you and the Father. I'm just the messenger, but this is a great sifting. This is a great sifting. So, um, I I hope that people pass the test, the sifting, and the gather in. But you know, if you don't this time, maybe you'll figure it out in the next world, and on the new Earth or whatever. You know, like it is what it is. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Take care, everyone. God bless, and God be with you until I see you again or you see me again.